Very good afternoon, a very good morning, and of course, a very good evening from ZA6YI, your host today with the worldwide DATV Net. We just want to thank the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us the opportunity to be on their satellite. We also wish to thank AMSAT DL, AMSAT UK, and of course the BATC. If you go to those different organizations' web pages, you will certainly find all the info you need to be able to come onto DATV. Today we have quite a number of people on, and I think we're going to have a very interesting afternoon. Let me see if I can call that up. Oh, something's gone a bit awry. Let me just knock that off. Right, we have to follow ZS1 Mike. I think Leon will be giving us something interesting to watch. Hello to Peter, GW7BZY in Wales. Hello to Phil, Mike 0, Papa India Tango. I saw you doing your sound checks earlier. Hello to Dave, Mike 5 Tango X-Ray Juliet. Welcome aboard. And hello to you, John. I saw your signal just now, outstandingly clear. And your sync was perfect. G7JTT. Hello again to Martin, G8KOE, and the cat, and also a very, very, very happy birthday to his wife Carol today. And we wish you all the well from South Africa and the whole net there, Carol. And then to Mike, nice to have you back. I've been away, but I'm glad you're back. And as usual, wonderful signal, G0MJW. To pass it to Benno, Papa Alpha 3, Fox Bravo X-ray. Hello, Benno. And then to Michael, Echo Alpha 7, Kilo India Radio. Hello, Michael, and welcome aboard. And then to Nick, Golf 4 IMO. So those are the stations today. I just want to try something quickly. This morning, somebody, or actually yesterday afternoon, one of the local hams needed a 5 picofarad capacitor, so I said make one, and he didn't quite know how, so I made one this morning very, very quickly, and I thought, let me just put it onto a link for them, which they did, which I did, and they found it quite interesting. Now I hope I can get this thing to work quickly. I need to restart this program, but not a problem. Slideshow, play the slideshow. There we go. Took 2 pieces of wire. It's also known as a gimmick. The older hams will have often made these things. Just 2 pieces of wire, put it in a drill, and then twisted the 2 pairs together, or the 2 wires together, 1 pair, and then took it out and put it onto my little LCR meter, and found it was a bit low. So what do you do if it's low? You cut a piece off, and you join them in parallel to add a bit more capacitance. And then I found it was a bit too high. So then I cut off the long section. So that left me with those 2 pieces. And eventually had to put another piece in. So there's 3 little parallel pieces. And then I got an exact 5 picofarad. But that's not the end of the story. I wanted to put some sleeving over it, heat shrink, so that it's more stable. And as you slide that heat shrink over, you get a slightly different, slightly higher in capacitance, because it's pulling the wires a little bit closer together. Okay, there we go. So I measured it after heat shrinking it on, and that was 9.4 picofarad. And then just started to trim it, 6.4, and then a fraction of a polony skin I trimmed off. Must have been, I don't know, 2 or 3 millimeters, not even 3 millimeters, and bang on, 5 picofarad. So I placed it in the local net so that the guy can go and make it. And it wasn't long, and many others were following all of their results. So it was a good exercise this morning. Anyway, right, Leon, are you ready to fire up your machine? ZS1 Mexico. From, let me just get this right, from ZS6 Yankee India.
Okay, thanks Gary. ZS6YI and the group, ZS1 Mike saying hello to everybody. We're all basically in the same time zone because Ed is not here. And I don't think Michael is any different from us, really. So anyway, good day to everybody. And yeah, interesting your gimmick there, Gary. Yeah, normally they used much thinner and stiff wire, you know, single stranded wire, and then it's much smaller, more compact. All depends on the voltage rating that the guy needed. Anyway, okay. Well, some of you who watched before will remember that Gary and I, we were playing with the Marconi power meters, and you get different power heads for them. The 3-watt ones are quite robust, but then you also get this one. It's a smaller one, and this one, the maximum permissible power, let me just get the glare off, do not exceed 100 milliwatts. So of course all the ones that I have been blown because they were used in the broadcast industries by people who were not always careful enough. So Gary, Matthias, Gary, you'll have to help me. I think he contacted you and said, but he's got some of the elements for these, the TFT elements for these things. And Gary had some conversation with him, and they sent pictures to me because they didn't know whether it'll fit or anything. So I opened up one of these smaller ones, the 100 milliwatt ones, and I looked at his photographs, and it was the exact part number that we needed. So Gary did some wheeling and dealing with him there, and he purchased 4 of those TFT elements, brand new, obviously very old, more than 30 years old, but in the original packing. So I took some pictures of how I replaced these elements in the power head. Okay, number 1. What am I doing there? There are the 4 containers with the elements as they came, all the way from Germany to Gary, and then from Gary to me. Okay, right, now let's just kill that one. There's a power head. I've just taken off. At the back, it's got this little, you can't see my mouse pointer there, the little knob with the Allen key in it. That sits on that black spindle you see there at the back of the head. That is the efficiency setting. According to the graph on the side of the thing there, it goes from 100% down to 90%. As the frequency goes up, the efficiency drops a little bit. It's not much. 10% from 0 megs to 14 gigs. So anyway, there you can set it. So that's the first thing. You take that off, and then after that, blah blah blah, where is number 3? Picture 3, there he is. After that, you take off the 3 screws that hold the whole cover of the thing. There you can see the 3 screws lying on the table. You remove them. Then you gently pull back the cover, and you see some ancient non-surface mount electronics, just all passive components, resistors, a thermistor, cap or 2, and so on. And then you can't see it on this picture yet. On the next picture, you see there's a screw that I've undone just below the PC board, to the left of the PC board as the thing is lying now. There are 3 of those screws, and you carefully undo them, and then you pull the 2 pieces apart, And there you see on the left hand side, you see the element. It's a very, very thin membrane with a transparent covering membrane over it, and handwritten the serial number and the part number. What is it? T2-1A. That was the magic number that we were looking for. Now that one is dead. It's open circuit. It's supposed to measure, you can see on the right hand side the part that fits on top of that, and it gets bolted down with those 3 screws. It's got 2 contacts there. They beautifully polished, slightly curved, spring loaded, gently spring loaded contacts that presses onto that element. The 2 half kidney shaped things are just capacitors. It's all vapor deposited on that ultra thin membrane in vacuum, obviously. And the vertical line you see going from the one side to the other, that is the actual TFT element, which should measure roughly, they say roughly, it's not exact, but roughly 200 ohms when you measure it with a normal multimeter on a not too low a range, because it can only dissipate 100 milliwatts. And right in the center is the little screw that screws it down onto the center pin of the coax connector. So let's carry on with the next one. There I'm lifting it off with the tweezers. The membrane, it's just a couple of thou thick. That's the thing completely removed now, and you see that's the rear end of the N-type connector, where that thing screws down with that tiny little brass screw with a cup washer. And that is the other side that presses down on it. And there I have the new element on with the little center screw screwed down. So now I just reverse the whole process, just put the other part back on and put all the screws back on, and voila, it works perfectly. So yes, that's what I've been doing. Today I quickly built, I didn't know whether I'm going to get it right, but it actually works. I'm playing with that ADF 4351 synthesizer chip, and I was struggling to get it programmed with the Arduino 8Tiny, but I've managed to get it going now. Now the maximum output of that thing is about 5 milliwatts, and I quickly built a one single stage little amplifier, and I'm now getting 70 milliwatts so far. I want about 200 to 300 milliwatts for a specific project for a 2.2 2.3 gigahertz video transmitter. So that's the stuff we've been playing with so far for this week. Okay, Peter, over to you. GW7. Oh, I must get back to my camera, because you've got to see who's going away. I mustn't switch the cameras. I've got to switch off all these photographs. And there I'm back. Sorry. Right, so this is It Is One Mike giving it over to Peter, GW7BZY for the group.
Alright, all done. Okay, seems that I'm in. Some of it might be struggling with it, with the data rate a bit too high. It's in the red according to DATV Easy. But yes, good afternoon everybody. I don't think I was on last weekend. I think I was work. So last 2 weekends I think I've been work. So have I done much? No, I haven't done much. I have got my new dish up. I've got a separate receive dish to my transmitter dish. Now I know a lot of people like the same dish to be doing both. Although the the transmit dish still has an LMB on it. It's a bit, it needs work to do it, to make it work properly. As it works, I leave it alone because fiddle too far is always a worry. But so I've got the other dish up, and I've had a bit of drama with LMBs. Two LMBs have died on me, and I was a bit concerned that maybe my power supply was killing them. But I've changed my power supply and me BIOS T, and the second LMB died. So they're both probably about 20 years old, so I assumed I put it down to age. Went down to a little shop down a local B&Q, not B&Q, yeah, Screwfix. I think the same company, more or less, and they had an LMB for me, and I stuffed that in, and it's working perfectly with a better signal. Less noise, definitely, than the Bullseye that I had used previously. What else am I looking for? Well, I thought, people using H.266, which, you know, it works well enough, it does work, but I'd have to buy a new PC, I think, to make the best of it, as the graphics card can't do it hardware encoding, and in a number of people using it generally sort of with low frame rates and low resolution, so really not zero gain somewhat on the improvements. So I thought I'd have. Have we got that upside down? No. Other manufacturers are available, which is an Intel Arc 380, fairly cheap graphics card. And have a go with AV1, because AV1 hardware encodings available in graphics and Intel graphics cards from the basic ones, about £130. So I'll give that a go. Got my old PC going, and all worked well, but only for a very short time, and the card seemed to have died, so that's going back. I don't know that I'd have to buy a new PC, I think. Or maybe the next Intel graphics card will be better, and I will change the one in my main PC, because that's a 3070 at the moment, and only the 4090 has AV1 encoding, and none have 266, so I won't be doing any of that anytime soon. But really good that the new software does, the Open Tuner does decode 266 without the hassle of opening second programs and using UDP. AV1, of course, is catered for by VLC natively, so it would be no problem. Maybe those using the RIDE or receive it might be an issue, but for everyone else using an only PC, it wouldn't be. That's about it, really. That's all I've got to say this end. Good to see everybody. Good that you've all been busy. I like the capacitor, Gary. That looks very good. And the way the power meter, 100 milliwatts, that I'm sure would work very well. With a tap off to give us a relative power output. That's about it for me for now. That's what other people got to say. Like I said, I haven't been on for a while. Somebody might comment. I'm sure King of England will comment on my lip sync being a problem. Usually it is. I'm running 720p at the moment. I've given up with HD. 720p from the camera straight into the computer. Anyway, there we are. This is JW Sunbee's Way. Over to M5. M0PIT from GW7BZY in sunny Wales.
Right, thanks, Peter. Take the headphones off. Don't want to hear a delay. What have I been doing all week? Well, basically, I've had a bout of laryngitis. Hence, my voice is very squeaky. It should hold up, but I can't talk for very long. It just gets a bit on the sore side. But fingers crossed, I'm on the mend now. What else? Yeah, right. That power head, Leon. Very interesting. a bit intrigued as to how it works, but it looked very interesting. And as for PCs, etc., and upgrading, I decided to have a look at this new open tuner for H266. And I had the misfortune of having to use Microsoft Windows. It drove me absolutely balmy. God knows what that hard drive does. Even when the PC isn't doing anything, after half a day, it's still chundering away, doing something every so often. My Linux machines, which are down here, I'm streaming from one. The other one is on the receive side, and hard drives are not being accessed at all. And yet with Windows, I just don't know. Anyhow, I got it running, but I'd had enough. So that was put down. I mean, I don't put them on live machines. I've got a machine, I'll show you. Let's have a look, what I call my roving cam. There it is there. That's my sort of like a development box. And basically I just do whatever I want with it. Every time I play around with a new application or whatever, I put a Virgin install of the operating system on it. So no matter what I do, if I trash it, which I often do, it's not affecting any of my live machines. Once I've got it going on there, I'll start thinking about migrating it over onto the live machines. But that's basically what I do on my software side. As I said, I run Linux. I don't normally run Windows. I've got no machines that are on at the moment that have got any form of Microsoft applications on it. But you may be interested in how I stream up to the old satellite. Well, this is basically what it is at my feet. There is a bit of a super duper PC with a super duper graphics card in it. But it's basically running, this is Linux, it's basically running OBS, and OBS is streaming, standard stream on RTMP. I don't run any virtual audio cables or video cameras. It's all being driven by bog standard OBS. And I have a script, which is an FFmpeg script. And that listens on the internal IP address that the OBS is streaming to. And then the FFmpeg then basically streams IPTS to ports down. And that is how my setup runs. I have no issues with it. And that's fact. The only issue that I do have is this damn audio sync. Now, today, building this slide, I didn't build it on this machine, I built it on another machine. And I transferred it over on a USB stick, which is USB, of course. And I transferred it over, I had to do it several times. And then when I come to run OBS earlier on, my lip sync had gone out phenomenally. Which I thought, well, this is ridiculous because it doesn't normally happen. What I did then was basically turn the machine physically off. So it's removed from power. And then I rebooted it back up. And then bang, it went back to where it was previously. So this lip sync problem with OBS, I'm sure it's all to do with prioritization of USB ports. And if you muck around with the USB ports, priorities are going to change, and I think that is where we start to have problems with lip sync. Anyhow, that's my opinion. What else have I been doing? I had a go at putting H.266 onto FFmpeg, which I did that on my developed machine behind me. I had lots of problems with it, primarily because it's a new install of operating system. I had left one of the utilities out, and I wasn't aware that what the error was. So, you know, having sorted that out, I then got a bit further before I realised that there was an error in the documentation. Only a minor error, but it was an error. I found my way around it, and in the end I managed to import the two libraries for H.266 into FFmpeg, and of course that's on a Linux machine. What I'll do with that, I'm not sure at the moment, but there we go. My voice is beginning to go. I'm going to start coughing in a minute, so I'm going to hand it. Oh, let's put my camera back on. There we go. That's ugly me, and I'm going to hand it back to Dave M5TJX. So this is Phil M0PIC. Handing it over to Dave. Now let's put a test card up. There's my test card. And I shall kill my feed to the PO.
I'm there, and I think I've got audio. Yeah. Afternoon, everybody. I've been missing for a few weeks. This thing called work. Don't know what my lip sync will be like. It's my first time H.265. Literally my first time H.265. I splashed out and bought another Pluto so I can encode 265 rather than just using my ports down H.264. So everybody's jumping on 266 and I'm only making it to 265. Hopefully everything is okay. What have I got to tell? Other than modifying the ports down, so I've now got the original facilities. It's now got a relay on one of Mike MJW's little relay boards, one of the Axicom relays. And flicking a switch, it selects external input, external Pluto rather than the internal Pluto to feed the PA system, or well, the RF switch. I've also built another mini tuner. I've got Mini Tuner Pro V2 sat under the TV in the sitting room connected to a ride, just that when I'm in the sitting room I can monitor the satellite or whatever. But I'll put the mini tuner on that once I've built an RT5047 board for it, and the Pro V2 can be used for something more appropriate. And not a lot to report other than that. My power meter, not a Marconi but a Hewlett Packard 431 Charlie. Yeah, and rather envious of your 3-watt thermistor mount, TFTs. I've got a 30 milliwatt thermistor mount. What's it say? Do not exceed 30 milliwatts average power or 5 watts per microsecond pulse. So yeah, it's rather fragile. But it works and it is very accurate. It's been tested against a lot of other equipment and it is very accurate, so I'll put up with that, and using various attenuators and things, it's a good reference. I'm not going to chatter a lot. There's quite a few on the list. I will be missing for at least a couple of weeks. Next weekend I'll be in 9H, and the following weekend I shall just be back from 9H on the Saturday evening, but at work on the Sunday. But it's good to catch up with everybody, and hope you're all keeping well, and hope my H265 signal's been okay. Right, with that I shall pass it round to John. So ready to hit the switch, John? G7 JTT on the worldwide net. This is M5 TXJ.
I have to remember to say worldwide net as well. Anyway, good evening all, or good afternoon all rather. Let me just get something up. Where am I? Right, there we go. Let's just mute that and do that, so I can just check something. Right, yes, I'm doing some sound stuff at the moment. Just everybody that's been on the net, including myself, and there appears to be a bit of a pattern. So let me just write it down quickly. Apologies. 4800. Stuttering. Right. Okay. A very good afternoon all. I'm with it now. First off, a very happy birthday to Carol. I mustn't forget that. And hopefully she has a wonderful day. You made a comment on my video earlier, Gary. When I first got onto TV, back in the days of analog, there was a guy called Ricky, G0SBV, who was a very unusual amateur radio operator in that he was a big, tattooed, muscular biker bloke, and very much different to what you normally see at the rallies and stuff. But anyway, a fantastic guy, really, really good, and he certainly helped me loads in the beginning. And he came up with acronyms. So his was SBV, which is Sen's brilliant video, and mine was JTT, which was John's terrible television. So I always had probably the worst looking video going, and certainly I think when we first got onto QO-100, I remember Reese used to love my video because it was so yellow, and I'm saying yellow as opposed to yellow, which is how I would normally say it. But yeah, because it was the camera I was using, had a very poor quality camera, and everything was very, very yellowy. And yeah, so the JTT thing is sort of stuck, and it's still quite funny, I think. But yeah, things are improving. I'm not quite as bad as I used to be. What else have I got right down there? Yeah, Tom. I don't know if Tom's listening or watching, but the guy's a genius. Between the various people that have done software over the years on DATV or with DATV, whether it be Everest or John Pierre or you know, more recently sort of David and Dominic and Tom, obviously, and various other ones out there doing stuff. I see Michael. I can remember his first part, DL something OCD. I remember the OCD bit. I can't remember the number, but again, these guys are what it's all about, and you know, they do make sure that the rest of us are able to participate in what otherwise would be a very complicated hobby. Certainly, I think when digital television first came about, it pretty much outpriced everybody. And yes, I am using stereo mic, Phil. They're probably out of balance. No, they seem to be talking at the same time, but they're two different microphones. They've got different responses on them. But anyway, back to the thing. So yeah, well, I just feel that it's just fantastic. But what I was leading on to was that the software is, in my mind, it's kind of what's been needed for a little while. It's a really basic front end to it. There's John Pierre stuff is great if you want all the bells and whistles, and that really does actually there's one feature it used to do on there where it should tell you about the you used to have the little bar graph and stuff on, or pie chart rather, and you used to be able to check and see if somebody was too many nulls or too many this, too many that, whatever, and it used to show you the audio and the video and the amount of nulls you had, and it did allow people to sort of look to see where they were going wrong with some of the video. In the early days, it was quite important because we kind of, well, we didn't have such a grasp as we've got now, and we haven't got the cards and stuff that we've got now. So, but Tom's, I think, is you know, very much. I hope he doesn't mind me saying it. A KISS technology, keep it simple, stupid. In that it's just there. It's got the information you need. Minimum amount of clutter within the GUI, and it works. Yes, there are a few little issues, but you know, this guy does it as a hobby. It's not professional £200 software, whatever. It's free, so I'm just grateful that guys out there do this, because it's just fantastic. So I'll answer. Excuse me. But you know, at the same time, it's also people like me that tend to find various issues in there, and it does appear to be a few, which Tom is working his way through, and hopefully everybody appreciates the fact that it is a hobby, and yeah, you shouldn't really demand too much out of people. It's the same as David. David, as soon as a new pie or something appears, a camera appears, everybody's straight onto the bandwagon. Will this work? Will this work? And sometimes it does, and sometimes it won't. But again, it's just a hobby. We shouldn't expect too much out of these guys, otherwise they would not particularly be interested in doing stuff. So hats off, and that's enough groveling. Right, what else have we been up to? Not a lot really. Still going through my issues with my health and so on. I'm probably going to be missing again for a little while, as we're back on to chemo on Tuesday. So we've been to bloods this morning, which one lot's come through, and unfortunately shows something's gone a bit high that shouldn't be going high. So I'll need to talk to the consultant tomorrow about that. But yeah, generally we're feeling right. I actually went out yesterday. I was first time I've been out socially in a long time, and I managed to get down the pub with a few friends, and although I wasn't drinking, because you can't, which is they're all sitting there drinking cider. It was an incredibly hot sunny day yesterday, and they're all drinking lovely cold cider, and I'm drinking, well, blackcurrant cordial. It was depressing but very happy times at the same time. So it was just, yeah, it was great to hook up with people and actually see faces in real life and stuff. So there we go. Carol, by the way, Mike, is Martin's beloved ex-YL, who is celebrating her 21st birthday today, I believe. I can't believe she's a day older anyway. Right, I'm just waffling, so let me put it round to, I did write down, oh, the king himself. Right, round to you, Martin. G7 JTT in the group, over to you.
Yeah, thanks there, John, and yeah, thanks for your help. You know, you go out for the first time you've been out for ages, and some idiot starts asking you questions. Yeah, Carol's. I don't think she'd come and say hello. She might do. They're asking, who are you? There you go, there's Carol.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the kind words. I'll leave you to Martin.
Yeah, Martin. Yeah, they're all asking after you. So that's Carol. Yeah, so thanks to John for helping me with an error that I found, which I thought was probably me, but wasn't. But has since been fixed. I can't keep up with the upgrades in Open Tuner, the rest test versions that come my way, and a lovely bit of software. Oops, I'm going out of focus there. Let's give it a bit more light, might help. Let's put that on. It's probably a bit dark in the corner here now. Yeah, I'm losing all track. What have I been up to? I've been rearranging the shack. That's not the one I want. That's it. I've now got a third monitor on the right hand side. There's now 3 monitors there. So that's what my shack now looks like. And let's go back to me. It's made life a lot easier. It's always seems so many things to open up and get going. But yeah, when I think of Open Tuner from when it first launched to what it is now, it's a completely different sort of program. And there's so many little bits keep being added to it, and the rest hiccups being sorted. It's all good. Anyway, I want to comment on yeah, the 5-puff capacitor. Brilliant. I can remember with the tin foil and stuff playing with capacitors in the early days, but bits of paper. Powerhead, yeah, that was good. I wondered what it looked like inside one of those heads. Never had one of the power meters. I've never sort of thought the need for it, but that was when GWM radio in Worthing, Sussex was open. I should have kept hold of one. That's all I can say. It just I was power mad at the time. That didn't seem enough to warrant. And good there, Peter. You got your second dish up. That's good. And your lip sync, I didn't even look. Must have been a lot going on this end with the cats, etc. Actually, only one cat. I haven't seen the second one for a while. And Phil, M0PIT. I've got an Open Tuner. I've got FFM pig on the top and VLC on the bottom. And I must admit, use freeze occasionally on the VLC setting. And the FFM pig, you keep going all the time. That's all I have noticed. So occasionally it freezes and then restarts on the VLC. The FFM pig keeps going. And Dave on H265, yeah, it's great when you first get there. Things keep moving, and yeah, you're doing well, and fine on another mini tuner, etc. And the VLC, the mini tuner Pro, mine, I think I've shown before, sits there, which is what I'm using for Tom's software, with the 2 connections at the back. But and that's it there. And Tom's software works exceedingly well. Back to me. I should think with the addition of that, Benno's going to have a lot to say about it. Before I hand it on to Mike, I've got to say that you may have heard him not earlier. I saw his 266 signals, which he was playing around with, and I thought they were brilliant. Quality was very good. Bit sort of envious of the capability to be able to run the scripts, etc. I'll wait until someone's done it for me, I think. But yeah, I was receiving really good quality pictures from you, especially that little fast bit you do, which I think you were checking whether it would freeze up, which it didn't. It came to a treat. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, I think. Can't see anything. Yeah, I know DATV does it. I've put some transmissions out, but I've never got them as good as yours. So maybe I'm not playing with the settings. Perhaps I need an idiot's guide to what settings I should change in DATV Easy. Or maybe my PC is just not capable. But it's an i7, fairly late one. Anyway, on that, I'll throw it over to Mike. Stick a test card and go. good to see everybody, and another good net from G8KOE.
Right, come up on the right frequency. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Yes, my lip sync might be out now. Minitune, no, not Minitune. The script crashed, as it does sometimes, for no apparent reason. Usually when I try and open up VLC on another window, and so when I run it at different times, it does different lip syncs. So we'll see how we're going. Anyway, firstly, happy birthday, Carol. 21 again today. That's good news. It's been a while since my birthday, but I'm not 21 anymore. And you may have noticed, or maybe not, that I've not been around for a couple of weeks. I've been away. I was in Colorado. I was in Colorado Springs for a space symposium, and then I was in Boulder for a space weather workshop. So I've been working overseas, and that's why I've been away. But I got back this week, and consequently, of course, I've not done anything. At least, not very much. I've got a few things to show, I guess. So let's get on with it. Just look at the chat. See, no, there's nothing on the chat. So let's go to the bench camera first. Spot the difference. The amplifier has got a back panel. So I guess that's progress. I drilled that out today. And it's now got all the connectors on the back rather than in the middle, and various cables going to various bits and pieces. So a little bit of progress. Still not happy with the performance, but I'll work on that. See if I can get it to actually do what it's supposed to do, and try and work out if I've done anything wrong, because it should just work. Might have to play with the length of the line between the PA and the filter. That's usually what it is. What else? H.266. So there's a few things happening there. I came back to discover that people were starting to use H.266, so I thought I'd better learn how to use it myself. First thing I tried was DATV Easy, the latest version of that from Dominic, and it works. Works very well. And there's also a script from Michael. I've temporarily forgotten Michael's call sign, D something. And that works too. The thing I found though was that it was very much required to go to a low bit rate. If you tried to do anything at a high bit rate, the CPU maxed out. So you need a really, really fast CPU to do the software encoding, so that's the challenge. I think probably graphics cards will start to support it going forward, so we'll just have to wait. But it's the same as used to be the case with H.265. It used to be requiring a lot of CPU. Nowadays they have hardware encoders built into the CPU, so they can encode H.265 pretty well. QuickSync, for example, on the Intel CPUs. Means you don't need a graphics card really, although the graphics card can give better results sometimes. Anyway, the result with that was I could do 66 kilosymbols quite well, but much more than that. 250 kilosymbols was okay. 333 was starting to overload the CPU. Of course, if I do 333 at 1/4 rate, it's incredibly sensitive. It could cope with that, and the quality was pretty good. Noticeable in movement that it wasn't as good, but it was okay. So it'll be good to improve on the poor quality that we've got on 333 kilosymbols. What else? Oh yes, mini tuners. No, Phil, I don't think it's a clue. Right. Mini tuner version 2, no LNA in this one, dual transport stream output. So the other thing that happened whilst I was away was Tom implemented the dual tuner. And that means you need a little board with these things, unless you happen to have a Mini Tuner Pro 2. So, oops, let's switch to the right camera. There we go. That's a Mini Tuner Pro 2. I've got my LCD on one side. Martin's got his in the middle. Not sure if there was a standard or any particular reason, but the LCD isn't used yet, Tom. This is the board that goes into the Mini Tuner version 2. You can see the power supply there, but it's not that one, it's the one behind it. It sits on that header, and then there's the FTDI module, and underneath the FTDI module, oh, I'm not showing you the picture, am I? Let's try again. Right, Mini Tuner version 2, the module. Sitting on a header. A little bit of metal required here to actually give that some support, and that is built into the PCB. That's what the 2 extra holes are for. It should be very clear. Now we did these things a long time ago, and basically nobody bought any of them because Jean-Pierre didn't actually get round to fully implementing the functionality. There was a test version, but only worked with DVB-S. And then the Mini Tuner Pro version 2 came out, and that's also got 2 tuners, and I think people started buying that. Anyway, now that Tom's implemented it, of course, the first thing that happened was all the remaining boards in the shop sold out. So I guess there will be some more ordered, and people will be able to use them. Right, I've just seen the wrong camera comment, John. A little bit late. It's the right camera now. I don't think there's very much else to add, but Tom's software is working really well. Oh, the other thing I discovered, incidentally, is if you're trying to receive and transmit on the same PC, that probably overloads the CPU even more, so maybe use a different one for transmitting and receiving might help. Round to you, Benno. PA3, FBX, G0, MJW. Hope I didn't catch you by surprise.
So I am using Tom's software to receive myself. I haven't played enough with it to get it right, apparently, because at the moment he cannot even lock onto my signal. But I can see I'm visible on the Winter Hill, so something is on the air. Despite me taking a long time to lock. Okay, thanks Mike. Well, anyway, hi guys. I've been off for a while. Even my transmitter found that way, because I found out that just after starting trying to set up my well, actually when the net was starting, I was still on my camper, on my mobile home, somewhere along on the road, about 15 minutes off from home. So I just throw my mobile home in the front yard, and then run up to my shack, switch everything on, finding out that my signal was off. My power was down, and even one of the pre-stages is now blown. Well, just to figure out, at least I am available, but I'm not quite sure why my signal is not that neat. My roll-off is a little bit high, audio a little bit low. Well, strange signal. Well, anyway, I'm here. Running on 216 still, not even tried 217, because I have done so many other things over the last few weeks. Last Friday I found a little bit time to play with the Open Tuner Dual Tuner. As you know, I have one of the built boards myself, so basically put that special board. Well, let's see if my desk cam is not working. I'm not able to show you that, but I built my small PCB breakout board from the FTD module to the mini tuner version 2, and made that working, and it worked pretty fast after Tom has modified something in my settings of my FTD module. Well, anyway, after that working, I have made the Open Tuner working on 2 channels, and yes, it has to have 2 modules, and both working in my case. So I'm using the full capacity of the Open Tuner with dual receive mode, and but for the second module I made a small PCB hardwired to the version 2. Well, when that one was working, I have a few of those, which is the Mini Tuner S version, and I also put this cable onto the back, piggyback onto the tuner, so it's mounted just hardwired here, and connected that one to the same FTD module and got that one working as expected. So not only the version 2, which has the optional plug for the second channel, actually this is the same to get a mini tuner version S type, and basically every mini tuner with the same tuner will cope with that. So even the German ones or even the American one, the Express, still probably will work the same way, but you need to hardwire the FTD chip to that. And all is about the FTD chip, which is, well, I would say too expensive. I dare to say too expensive, because the chip itself is about €5, and to ask 35 euros for one of those for those modules, it's crazy. So I really hope now that's the next. The FTD chip itself is only €5 if you buy them for 10 pieces or so. So it's ridiculous to for a piece of board and some plugs which are on there, and a E-square chip, an EEPROM, which is on there. It's ridiculous price. So I really hope the next idea will be a solution for just that, for increasing. I will increase a little bit my power. My signal is really off. I'm really stressing out my preamps at the moment. That's the reason why my signal is not very neat today. Well, anyway, that's basically it. I will be off next weekend for the Malabar remembrance 100 year of Malabar, which was the first connection over on shortwave on between Dutch India, which is at the moment Java and Indonesia. The connection between that and Holland is in remembrance next week, and I think we will be off on the satellite on a special event station, especially for the narrowband, but I will try to come on the net next week on Sunday, and that will be from my mobile setup, which is already ready for use in the camp, which hasn't this doesn't have this same amplifier, by the way. So no preamps problems. Okay, well, next to that, I have so many other projects on my hands, so I won't be on for the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe showing by, but I think there is a lot of other things coming my way, so I am still active, still radioactive, but not on the net this week. Passing it on to Mike, Echo Alpha 7, I believe, Kilo India Romeo. I'm all doing that from my head. Let's see, Echo Alpha 7, Kilo India Romeo. Michael, Mike, passing it on to you from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray. Apologizing for my weak signal.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Benno. People used to call me Mike, actually, back in England. But now I'm called Michael. I answer to anything, really. I'm getting a little bit worried about this 266 business that everybody's raving about, because I'm not in a position to either receive it or transmit it at the moment, and I don't know how long it will be on the transmission side. I've kind of cornered myself into a corner because I've built my own receiver software. It still uses the long lead stuff in the center, but it's the rest of it I've written myself. Sorry, I'm talking about the receiver. I should be talking about the transmitter. The transmitter, again, I've built it myself and written my own software, but the corner I've put myself in, I chose to use a hardware encoder, which is working really great, actually. You can see me now, right? It's very reliable. It's not the one that most people use. I paid just a tiny bit more for it, not a lot. So I'll be waiting for one of these manufacturers to produce a VCC version, which I'm sure they will, but it might take a little bit longer because I don't think anybody's made any chips yet for this, or maybe they have, I don't know. But as soon as they appear, I'll do it. Meanwhile, I know I can't receive it because my receiver won't decode it, because I don't actually use VLC. I'm using FF Play, but it's the same story. But I want it to at least see the status messages on the screen, because I decode the status and it tells me what I am, And I managed this morning, I've been in touch with Dave Crump, who you all know, I'm sure, and he discovered that the ES number for this. So I quickly patched my software and put that in, and then searched around for what looked like on the spectrum, looked like somebody who might be transmitting 266. And I think I found one, but it wasn't decoding the status. Dave's idea is probably correct, and that is that some people that are putting out 266 at the moment are probably putting out a non-compliant signal by not actually encoding the ES details into it. I'm sure they're aware of that. Are they? I don't know. Anyhow, enough of that. I won't go on too much about the next subject. Oh, by the way, I'm very pleased to be here. It's the first time I've been on this net. I've watched it quite a few times, but never plucked up the courage to come on. And if there weren't so many people from Great Britain on here, I'd give you a longer spiel about the project I'm building at the moment, which is this. I'm building what they call a PPM meter. I'm sure you've all seen one of these. If you haven't, these were basically invented by the BBC around about 4 centuries ago, and they were still in use up until about, I don't know, 10 years ago perhaps, when they all went luffs and loos and all that kind of stuff. So I'm building this because they're a bit difficult to get your hands on these days, and they're really nice. But I'm really struggling with it, to be honest. Let's go back to that. I got it working, but I've got 2 issues, and it's my lack of experience, because it's all written in C++ on an ESP32. And the 2 areas that I'm struggling with is, number one, it became evident very quickly that I'd have to use tasks. So, I mean, it runs on the RTOS operating system anyhow. So they're built in. Well, I can get 2 tasks running, but I can't get, at the moment, I can't get queuing working, to queue the data from one task to another kind of thing. That's not working. And to help debug it, I wanted to put some... I haven't got a debug. I've never done debugging in my life, actually. I've always done it by print lines. But that's not so easy. You can use the serial print, but it's horrible. And I've been trying to get the proper way of doing it, which is the expressive way, and I can't. You know, if anybody knows what this is, I'm talking about the log_e or log_I or any letter you can think of, and I can't get any of them to work. In fact, worse than that, it crashes a bloody program. So I'm kind of stuck at the moment on that, but it'll get sorted eventually. These things always do, because I'm persistent, if nothing else. Okay, so that's it from me. One day I'll come on and encourage you to get your sound levels right, because the people in England are sick of hearing about this, but maybe some of the others haven't heard about this. By the way, contrary to popular belief, I am utterly convinced, and I've seen it several times today, when somebody does this, clap, and claps loud to check sync, it messes around with the video encoder or decoder and causes it to lose a frame, and then it all goes grey and squishy until it comes back after a few seconds. So paying attention to sound levels, in my opinion, protects the video. Okay, enough from me. Let me just see who we're handing over. I can remember his name. He's called Nick, I think. Yes, Nick. G4IM0 from EA7KIR on the Sunday Afternoon Net.
Yes, okay, Michael. Thanks for that. Yes, turn my volume down. Where is it? There we are. I think we're working. Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Nice to see you. There's a lot of people on here. A lot of UK stations. I'm wondering whether, of course, we've altered the time, whether some of our other friends are now absent, aren't they now? So, I don't know. Anyway, nice to see everybody. There's a lot of new stations on here I've not seen before. John, G7JTT, nice to see you. And I must say your video is really sharp, isn't it? Really good quality. So I think you were running FEC 1/4, I think. Or was it a half? Anyway, it was very good quality pictures. It's very good. Before I forget, Michael, If I say Black Forest Gatto to you, you'll understand what I mean. For anybody else who wonders what on earth I'm talking about, if you look at Michael's website, he produced a short video, which I think is, or there's a link on there, I think, to the video. Well, it's a film, a short film. So, which I watched. Very good it was indeed. Is that your QTH, Michael, out in Spain? I did see in one of the scenes a tectonic scope. So I assume it is. But anyway, all very interesting. Right. Anyway, let me go down the list. I won't stay on very long. In fact, I think I'm going to make this my one and only transmission, but I will be watching because there's a lot of people on here this afternoon, and it's way after 4 o'clock already. Gary, okay on the capacitors. Very good. The hang on a minute. I'm just checking. Make sure I've got some audio. Why isn't that showing on there? Oh, that's better. I thought I'd lost my audio. Yeah, the capacitors. Very good. Yes, very cheap, easy way to make small capacitors, and all right for HF. I wouldn't want to do that for microwave, I don't think. But yeah, HF. I've used little pieces of coax to make traps and things for HF aerials. Just alter the length of the coax to make it tune. But Leon, the RF heads, they look very very interesting little pieces there. They very sensitive, aren't they? You've got to be very careful with those, not to overload them. Put plenty of attenuation in there, in front of those. I remember the old days, you used to get those RF ammeters. You remember the ones with the thermocouples in? I wonder if you could carefully take one of those thermocouples out and attach it to a surface mount 50 ohm resistor or something on a bit of strip line, and whether you could calibrate that and make that into a power meter or something. I don't know. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, afternoon to Peter from sunny Wales. Yeah, well, it was sunny here. It's clouded over here. It reached maximum 17 degrees here. It's quite humid here. So I think it's the first time this year I've got a t-shirt on. So I normally have my winter woolies on. And Dave off to Malta. That's very very good. I'm looking forward to my holiday at the end of June. So only just over a couple of months to go now. So I shall be away for from the end of June up until well, we don't come back till October, so we'll be away quite a while. I won't be watching the net because it will be on at about midnight, I think. So, but I shall probably watch the replays on YouTube. And talking about that, I did watch the replay last time, and I realised that when I had my second over, I hadn't put my microphone on, so my audio was very low. So apologies for that. What else was there? Martin, thanks very much for emailing me the simple setup procedure for enabling me to receive H.266. I've been doing a lot of experimenting there, just reception wise. I haven't done any transmitting. I started off with the mini tuner plugged into the USB of the computer, running the mini tune software on the PC, and when you see a signal which has sound but no video, you have to assume it's an H.266. So you start up the MPV player, and lo and behold, video appears. But the problem is you've got no idea as to who that is, unless the station is showing their call sign in video, like I'm doing now on the screen. So you can't tell who the person is. So I then went over to the Tom's Open Tuner, and initially I was only using version 0.4. So the beauty of that is in the wideband spectrum thing, you can see the call sign of the person there. And I was starting up the MPV player, but it was very sort of hit and miss. Sometimes it would lock on the Open Tuner, then you start up the MPV player and you just got a black screen, and you wait, doesn't matter how long you waited, sort of 10, 15, 20 seconds, you never saw a picture. So I then went back to the mini tuner and it worked. That could well be the frequency, because I did use the offset. You can fine tune the frequency on the Open Tuner. There's a little thing you can tweak in the mini tune as well. But I found the Open Tuner arrangement wasn't as reliable at the moment anyway. But it's still very early days. But when it did work, I must say the picture quality on 125 was excellent, really superb quality. Anyway, really is good news on that front. I suppose it would be useful, the enhanced quality on 125 if you could use it on, say, 6 meters or something, But the problem is at the moment it takes so long to lock, doesn't it? So maybe that's not going to work under sporadic E conditions. Who knows? Right, where are we getting down the list here? Can't read my writing now. Martin, yeah, happy birthday to Carol, by the way. Yeah. I should be. It'll be my birthday in a couple of weeks' time. I shall let you all know when that is, so you can also send me presents. Okay. Mike, yeah, okay, on the little mini tuner there with the second USB module. I noticed that there wasn't a resistor. Do you not have to put the extra resistor? You have to put a 10k or 12k resistor on there. But presumably they're just paralleled up, so as you've got the 10k on the other one, you don't have to. But and unfortunately, those little printy boards have sold out now on the shop, so they've all gone. So anybody who wants one will have to wait. They'll have to order some more in, I think, on the shop. Right, that's about it. I think I've noticed after me that Nigel has put himself on the list. So when I finished, I'll put it round to Nigel. The only other thing I've been doing, I haven't been very well this last week, and Vicky hasn't been well either. So I haven't been doing very much. But I did find a source of electric motors, because I was interested in this ham TV thing. So to make some sort of aerial tracker thing. So I've been looking around at the rallies for a pan and tilt head, like Tom was using, but haven't seen anything at all. So without, I mean, that's the ideal thing, isn't it? If you can get one of those, you can modify that. So I thought, well, we'll have to make something. So I found somebody who was selling a motor with a heavy-duty gearbox on there, which was 12 RPM, 12 RPMs with a nice quarter-inch shaft. So I worked out that will possibly be suitable. So my brain's not working this afternoon. 12 RPM, so 6 revs a minute in 30 seconds, so 3 revs in 15 seconds. So one rev in 5 seconds. Is that right? Something like one revolution in 5 seconds. So half a rev in 2.5 seconds. So it would go from here over to there in azimuth, in elevation in what, 2.5 seconds, wouldn't it? So, and anyway, so that might be suitable, but they're mains motors, unfortunately, 240-volt mains motors. So I'm contemplating taking those off. I don't like the idea of using mains motors, so I'm going to take those off. I've got a couple of 12-volt motors here I'm going to put on there and see if they'll do the job. Anyway, interesting. Right, that's enough for me. I'll make this one my final, I think, because it's already 20 past 4, so time's ticking away. So anyway, nice to see everybody on here, and hope to see you all next time. Round to Nigel, if you're ready. 2E0 Echo Hotel G4 IMO.
Good afternoon, good morning and good evening. If I've got sound. Good afternoon. Yeah, turn it off. Transition over. Yes, that's it. I'm here. Okay. Say good day, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Nice. Quite a few on. Gary, Lennon, Peter, Phil, Dave, John, Martin, Mike, Benno, Miss Michael, Nick, and obviously myself. Only one person, well, I came on a bit late, as you know, because I'm bottom of the list. Because I'm tidying the check, I've made a few alterations. And I just thought, I'll show you in a minute what I've been doing. But out of, when did it come on? John, G7JTT. I caught your transmission and okay, mate, no problems. And your health and all comprehend. Hope goes well. Keep your chin up, mate. Keep your chin up. As long as you keep stepping one foot in the other, yeah, and think positive, you should be okay. Yeah, but Benno, was it Benno? Yeah, Benno, PA3FBX. Didn't get your transmission at all. Not even your sound. Oh, I didn't get nothing. I double clicked on the quick tune and it went blank, but was still nothing. So I don't know if you was doing anything different than you normally do. I normally get you, mate, but not today, Josie. Anyway, yeah, what I've been doing, I've been tidying the shack, and I haven't got a second camera. I have, but I haven't got it fixed up yet. So what I'm going to do is do a handheld one. There's the ports down. Well, it's not switched. I've just updated it actually. I'm doing the Adams Pluto thing, and that's going into a preamp and going out to the dish. But one thing, I've always been using. Come on. Yeah, like shaky cam. I've got a splitter from the receive from the dish going into a 4-way split. I've been using 1 and 3 on the Winter Hill, but I've used 2 and 4. I put the other cables on. Then does that mean I can get up to 8 receives? Wherever Winter Hill's normally I've had it on 4, but because I've got extra 2 cables, I don't know. Would all I've got to do is put extra ports on the receiver? I don't know, but that's what I've been up to now. So I'm just trying it really, because obviously I've got 1 to 4 splitter, and I'm only using 1 and 3. But what happens if I put 2 and 4 on? Will that give me an extra 4 channels? I don't know. Anyway, somebody can probably answer that or give me some advice on it. Right, that's enough for me, because I say it's 25 past. 4 local time here in the UK, and it's reasonably cloudy, but it's not might not be raining at all. Anyway, so I'm going to hand it back to Gary. Stand by, Gary. Net control ZS6 Yank YI, and worldwide net, which is 2E0EHH. Put a test card back up and then hand it over to Gary. Thank you very much, and once again, catch you later. Wait till it gets some in.
Okay, Nigel, nice to see you on again. And yeah, good signal. I must say good signals all over, and very nice to meet you on this net for the first time, Michael. Echo Alpha 7 Kilo India Radio. Welcome aboard, and please do join more often. I'm sure there's a wealth of knowledge that you can share with us. So it was intriguing and interesting listening to your over for sure. Just to mention, on the YouTube channel, we have DL2IE Ismail watching, a G4ZCN Barry. Hello, Barry. Stuart, ZR6 Whiskey Tango. And we do know that Tom, ZR6TG, is watching off his own receiver, of course. I'm just hopping through the couple of quick notes I took. John, oh yeah, there's one other chap, that's Matthias, DD1US, who was the chap that assisted us in getting those elements, which was most helpful. He ran around a lot, did a lot of work, packaged the stuff properly, and sent them off to us, those TFT elements. And John, nice on that link you sent. I passed it over to Leon as well on WhatsApp, so very interesting. And while we're talking there, John, I wish you well with your chemo next week, and you look good, and let's hope it continues that way. It's not an easy journey for sure. I had a bit of that type of thing on my nose some time back, so we got to ring the bell, and I hope you ring the bell very shortly, and ring it hard. You know what I mean. Right, Mike, welcome back. Golf Zero Mike Juliet Whiskey. We missed you for sure. There's always something happening and brewing in that radio station, or call it shack. We call it shacks in South Africa. Right, let's just see. I will basically close the net now, but it will run through for those that want to take part, and I'll pass it to Leon. ZS1 Mike and the whole net from ZS6YI, closing the net and just leaving it run for whoever wants to continue. Take it away there, Leon.
Okay, Gary. ZS6YI and the whole group. ZS1 Mike. Oh, I thought I muted the sound. I didn't. There, I've muted it now. Yeah, the sun's going down here, so I'm getting a bit of a shadow on my backdrop. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go through a whole lot. Just some ones. Okay, Peter, don't change anything on your station, please. Your picture quality is excellent. You need, my opinion is, I think you need just a little bit more contrast out of your camera, just a touch more to make the picture a bit more lively. But don't do anything else. It's fine. Good resolution, everything. It's lovely. Yeah, LNBs shouldn't easily blow from over voltage, because they have regulators inside, and they can easily take up to 17 volts, that I know. As a matter of fact, I've had some of them on 24 volts and they still survive, because I have some commercial professional receivers that give out 24 volts for on the LNB line, not the stuff that we use. Phil, yeah, you're talking Linux. I know nothing. I know of it, but I know nothing about it. At work, some of the people use that. But yeah, I'm computer illiterate, so I can't comment on any of that. Dave, yes, I see your HP power meter. I have a similar one with identical head that you've got there. I've got two of those heads, and yeah, they're very, very similar to the Marconi ones. They're physically a bit smaller. The Marconi ones are a bit bigger. Like all British stuff, it's heavy duty, made of cast iron, and not tin plate or aluminium and pop rivets like the American stuff, but they both work very well. Unfortunately, both my power heads for the HP are also very, very low power, which is very handy for other applications. And I've compared the HP and the Marconi, and they're identical. John, yes, I agree with you. There's a lot of people who've contributed with their software innovations and things, and if we didn't have all those people, the French guys and the British guys and the German guys, we wouldn't have had DATV the way we have it today, and so easy. The H266, I can't say anything about it. I haven't seen it yet, but if it only works on low bit rates, I'm not interested for now anyway. We don't do terrestrial ATV in South Africa. It's completely dead here, unfortunately. I've tried my best to get it going, even offered to put up repeaters, but nah, it's too technical, you know. Okay, Martin, yeah, happy birthday to Carol. And you didn't show Ruby today. I also like watching Ruby. I think you had her on Thursday. And Mike, yeah, he was there with all his mini tuners. I'm happy with my ones. They work fine. Michael, the sound levels, yes, it is important, but I don't agree with you. When people do this to check their sync, it's probably the large area rapid movement that throws the picture, because the audio is not AM and it's not FM, it's probably PCM or something, which should not really interfere with the video at all. When you get to the maximum digital level, it'll just flat line, but I don't think it'll cross over into the video. I mean, it's not like real TV, the old analog TV, where it would get into the sound part. I don't know. I've never experienced anything that the sound itself causes picture freeze up or any interference with the picture. It's normally the motion, because we're putting motion through a very, very thin pipe here, and the fact that we're actually getting anything out at the other side is a miracle. Okay, Nick, yes, I still have quite a number of those RF ammeters, the old ones that I built a NDB, a non-directional beacon, for the airfield here many years ago, in 1985 as a matter of fact, and I used one of those in the antenna to load it up, to tweak it for maximum power. Originally I had two 807s in the final, and then I revamped the whole thing later on, many years later, because I was running out of 807s. The thing runs 24 hours a day, and so I made it all solid state with a single FET on the output, and it was running fine until ADF is actually not being used nowadays, so it's switched off now. But yeah, that's basically how that thing works. Yeah, Gary, I got your WhatsApps, and if I can go back to my photographs, which one will it be? That one? Yeah, that's now the empty thing. Let me get go back one. That's 8. Let's see. Yeah, if you look at the element there, it's very, very thin, and that's two dissimilar metals vaporized onto that transparent film, forming a thermocouple. So the RF comes in the center. By the way, very important, there's a DC blocking capacitor in that center line, coming the center pin of the N-type connector. to block any DC there, because that will really throw off the whole reading. Everything is floating there, and those two kidney shaped things with the contacts is a balanced millivolt DC output that is being generated by the heat, the actual thermal heat, heating up that little vertical thermocouple there, but microscopically, eh? And then it goes, the actual meter is just one heck of a high gain balanced DC switch mode amplifier, which then drives the needle with all sorts of buttons for various calibration levels and so on. So that's what it is there. It's just a thermocouple. Everything very, very carefully designed so that the impedance stays constant right up to 12 gigs. Okay, my voice is also going. So, Peter, I give it back to you. GW7BZY, this is ZS1 Mike saying check.
I say okay. I don't know yet. I see a signal. Yeah, looks like it. Right, wait to see a picture. Hello. Hello. All right, sound as well. GW7BZY tuning. I've tried tuning. I've put it. Limited my dynamic range to 15 to 235 or whatever it is, rather than the full bandwidth. That's 250. I can't remember. Anyway, hopefully that's a little bit more punchy signal. Yeah, I mean there are other settings in the camera, but it's kind of set up for movie-esque by the previous owner, and I think more similar to some of the Sony DLSR, single lens reflex SLRs, digital SLRs. So this is what it is, I'm afraid. I mean, there's not very little over sharpening going on, and my hair is kind of grey, and I have tried to peak it a little bit and make it a little bit brighter. I suppose I could fiddle, but I'm not going to. Yes, on everything. Actually, very interesting net this afternoon, and really good to see everybody on. Good to see you there, John. Interesting colours there. Good sharp, though. I mean, I could sharpen my picture up, but I look horrendous, so I ain't going to sharpen. Sharpness is overrated anyway, I think. Like some say, lip sync. And if I didn't say, I did message on the chat there, Martin, happy birthday to your wife there, Carol. And I wonder if you're going to have your own coronation next weekend. That would be interesting. I'm sure if you get yourself a bit of a crown, we could have a bit of a party. That's about it for everything. What else? Lots I forgot. I could see a few people I haven't seen before. Peak music power. I'm interested in the meter, but you don't explain why I should be interested in it. Mike, I'll call you Mike because I'm over here in England. Not Mike, the other Mike, but Michael in Spain. I think it's Spain or Portugal. Apologise if I'm wrong. But you don't explain why it's needed necessarily. An average level is pretty good, I would have thought. And with modern equipment with dynamic range it has, but is one needed? And I know you've got your average power, average program power nowadays, haven't you? So if you have a loud part of your film, you have to have a quieter part for the rest of it, like an average speed camera, which makes life complicated. Just to stop advertisers, probably the people in the independent television in the olden days will have caused this to happen. No fingers pointing. Martin isn't on, so he's KFS and even worked for the BBC, so he couldn't be him. I wonder. Anyway, regardless, from GW7B's wife, good afternoon, everybody. I'll be watching for a bit, and maybe on next weekend, or I might be working. I can't remember. From
That's that. Brilliant. Back on. Voice is not good, so I can't stay on for too long. I'll end up in a coughing fit. I want to say, John, your treatment, mate. Yeah, you gotta keep on bloody fighting. Yeah, you keep in there, mate. Yeah, good luck to you. Fingers crossed. We're all wishing you well. I hope it's all positive, mate. I hope it's all positive. Leon, thanks for the explanation. That makes a little bit more sense now. But boy, oh boy, yeah, it's very fragile. Yeah, very sensitive. Yeah, quite surprised how they do it. But there we go. Right, great net, and enjoy it. I should be here next week. Fingers crossed, I should be here. Hopefully my voice will be better. So it's 73 for me, and I just say goodbye to everybody and the worldwide net. 73s, and hope to see you next week. Put the old test card up. There it is.
And it's me quickly again. Yeah, good night everybody, and yeah, been good to get on after being missing for a few weeks. I did have a play with H266, as I put on the chat. I was getting dropout in DATV Easy 2.17, where you get the little green lights and the bitstream indication underneath. It was occasionally dropping back to 0 and then sort of rebuilding itself up again. That was even at 66 kilosamples, and a CPU load of about 60% according to the Windows resource monitor. So I don't know what was happening there, but I'll probably get to 266 when everybody else is getting to H267. One thing I did notice watching a few stations is there seems to be a tremendous latency, either in the encoding or decoding, or both probably. Yeah, the power meters, the Marconi or the HP, the big advantage of them is that they're not just measuring the peak voltage of the RF signal. So if you've got a 2 meg wide signal, it's measuring the whole of the power in that 2 megs of signal. It's a power density, so it's definitely more accurate for a broadband transmission like DATV. Last but not least, now I'm using a second Pluto for H265 and 0303 firmware. I'm finding that every time I start system up, I have to go into the Pluto homepage 192.168.2.1 to apply the settings. I know Colin G4KLB has the same thing. It says that the settings are for DATV and for UDP, but it doesn't work until you click apply settings again. Has anyone else come across this, and do they know a solution for it? I'll keep an eye on the chat because the wife's just home, so I'd better go and say hello, and yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on chat and see if anyone has an answer for that. So with no more ado, I shall pass it round to John, and we'll catch you all in a couple of weeks or so. G7JTT on the World Wide Net. Thanks to everybody for all their input, and catch you again soon. This is M5TXJ.
Right, there we go. Let me just wait for it to catch up with itself. There we go. Right, mute. That's it. Right, no, my own voice in my own house, own head rather, which is good. Yes, enjoy the holiday, Dave. Really envious of that. I'm still not able to do any travelling yet. Still far too many hospital visits, etc., including today and tomorrow. For those that aren't in the UK, it's a bank holiday tomorrow, so most places will be shut, but hospitals and stuff still continue on. So anyway, I probably should explain a little bit more about stuff. I think most people know, but not everybody probably does. The chemo's not too bad at the moment because I'm post-op, so there shouldn't be that much in me for the chemo to do its magic on, which is why I don't get as ill as some people get, but it still knocks me out, tiredness and pins and needles and other little niggly little things, but nothing like some of the guys and girls go through. The actual diagnosis was stage 4 bowel and stage 2 prostate all at the same time. Lucky me. They only found the prostate when they started investigating for the bowel side of it. So, and there was at one point there was possibility of having 3 cancers at once, which really would have been quite good. But yeah, we had 17 hours on the operating table, and most of my insides no longer exist. So it's as simple as that. It's yeah, you mean outlook is great. You know, I don't care. It was quite funny because when he got the prognosis, he pretty much said to me, "Yeah, you got 6 to 8 months or whatever this operation." So I said, "Have an operation then." He said, "Do you not want time to think about it?" I said, "What's to think about?" Yeah, I've got holidays to go on. I'm retiring in a year or so. Well, I was just intent to retire around about now anyway, but the idea was to retire and then travel the world. I got to retire, but I haven't managed to travel the world yet. So it was all positive thinking in most of it, I suppose. You know, there were bad days, but basically, I want my holidays and I don't care. I've fought everything else so far, so yeah, a little bit of chemo ain't going to do me no issue. Yeah, I'm not going to keel over from that, hopefully, but yeah, so it's been a journey. Certainly, I think 3 months in. I nearly said 3 months inside, and it felt like 3 months inside, but 3 months in hospital. Mostly a good experience. Just the fact that sleep deprivation and stuff like that is always the thing that gets you when anybody gets a long stay. But yeah, it's something I've been fairly open about. I'm not after any sympathy or anything, but more so the fact that I want people to be aware that these things are out there, and without getting into the nitty-gritties, you can look yourself for the common things to look out for. But if you see any of them, go and get yourself checked, mate. You know, I can't stress enough, basically. And it's been quite good in the sense that, you know, lots of people that I know have gone and got checked, and one of them they found some bits and pieces, but thankfully it turned to be just polyps rather than anything else. But yeah, it's something that I don't think, without getting into a complete rant about it, men are particularly good at. We're not very good at looking after ourselves, are we? Yeah, go away eventually. Yeah, leave it alone, it'll just go away. Unfortunately, in my case, it didn't go away. So Yeah, I left it too late. But anyway, yeah, I'm still here. So, and we're still able to get up, and yeah, we have our good days and bad days. So anyway, right, with that, and sorry if it's not exactly a radio subject, but it is something I do think needs to be out there. But anyway, with that, round to KOE again. And just one thing, Martin, I take it you will be at the coronation next weekend, because if not, I'd like to know why not. Anyway, round to you. G8 KOE, G7 JTT in the group, and very good evening, good morning, no, good afternoon to everybody, and hopefully the rest of your day is fine. And for those in the UK, enjoy the bank holiday tomorrow. Take care. Round to you, Martin.
I think Martin said he was going, John, so I've just come up in his place. Hopefully that will be okay. I don't see anyone interfering with me. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're getting better slowly, and I guess it's a difficult choice, isn't it, really? Well, maybe not. Glad it was successful, at least so far. Very interesting net, and lots of interesting things going on. I don't think I've got much else to add, but I should be on next week. One thing I need to do tomorrow is go to the bank, so that's going to be frustrated, isn't it? Because we have a bank holiday tomorrow, as John was pointing out. But it's also the 1st of May, so it's the May Day bank holiday. Happens to be on the 1st of May, which is probably the day it should be. Good. Okay, it's 7:03, and round to you, Benno. Hopefully you've managed to fix your transmitter issues. You did seem to be slightly off frequency, but also the signal was quite weak and it looked a bit pointy. So something isn't quite right, but I'm sure you'll fix it. So, PA3 FBX G0 MJW.
Well, let's just see if it locks. Michael, would you like to have another over? It looks like Benno's gone. And then perhaps we can send it to Nick, who might be there, and then Nigel, and I think then we really close the net. Echo Alpha 7 Kilo India Radio, possibly, from Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India. Possibly.
Yes, I'm still here, I think. Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, I was just turning the light on, because even with the light on, it's not sunny today actually, but it's very bright. So I've got the window on this side, and my face would be in total darkness were it not for this little light. Yeah, it is an interesting net actually, and I as I say, I've watched it a few times. It's quite informative. A couple of things came up though. one question, I've forgotten who asked it now. Someone says, why? Why do we need a meter like that, or like anything really, for the audio? Well, I'll ask you a question. Back in the analog days, why did you need a vectorscope or a waveform monitor? Why? And today, why do we look at the spectrum and measure our power output going and compare it to the beacon? Why do we do that? Why don't we just stuff any old signal out? No, we don't. We actually look and check it, don't we? So why not do that with the audio? The thing is, though, with digital audio, which is what we've got, you've got an incredible dynamic range. You know, we're putting out 16 bits. I think that gives you over 60 decibels of dynamic range, meaning the noise floor is 60 decibels below clipping. That's a heck of a lot. So there's no need to push the level as high up as you possibly can. And somebody said, you know, who said this? They doubted that hitting the clip level could affect the video. And I agree, this ought to be impossible. I absolutely agree about that. But, you know, I notice this quite often when people are doing sync tests. Not every time, but I saw it twice today, during the day. I can't remember who it was, but he's on the net tonight. And he was doing some sync tests several times. And every time he clapped, his picture went off. So you tell me. But it is a fact that when you hit clip level, especially with spiky waveforms such as a hand clap, you can actually, when you decode it to analog, certainly to analog, you get an overshoot, and this is, you're exceeding the peak level. You can actually measure true peak level, which nobody can do in our group, including me. But true peak level is higher than peak level. Only a little bit, but it's there. Now, maybe that affects it. I don't know. I can't imagine how, because as far as I can see, it's digital all the way, right from the moment you encode it at this end, through your Pluto or Lime or whatever you're using, up through the transponder and back down through your receiver decoder at this end until you get it to your speakers. It's digital all the way. So I don't know why it can affect the pictures, but I just feel it does. But there is such a thing as true peak, which is higher than peak. That's all I can say about that. But I can only repeat the idea of measuring the level is twofold. One is to keep away from true peak or peak, and the other way is so that everybody receives each other at the same volume, so you don't have to keep adjusting the volume up and down. And my mission, oh yes, I have a mission, is to encourage people to measure their audio in a consistent way. I'm not saying this peak program we try and build in is the ultimate solution. It's not, actually. But it would be a good start. And line it up according to EBU specifications, because after all, we are in the EU, and fundamentally our pictures follow the EBU specifications. The reason we don't need a vectorscope and a waveform monitor today is because we're all using these digital cameras that have automatic this and that and the other inside, and they just don't go over a volt, if there is such a thing as a volt in the digital domain. You understand what I'm saying, though? You don't actually need to sit there tweaking, you know, black level and light level and tilt this way and the other like you did on the old rack on a Marconi Mark III camera back in the 1960s, 50s, whatever. So there are reasons. So I hope that answers the why question. Why not? Okay, thank you very much. I've enjoyed rattling on as usual, probably too long as usual, and I'll hand it over to, where are we going? I'm going to hand it over to Nick, who I hope I can receive this time. I don't know if you're still listening. You didn't respond on the chat, Nick, G4IM0, but several of us had problems receiving you. In fact, I couldn't receive you at all. And the only way I knew you'd finished is when I saw you vanish off the spectrum. So I think there is a problem at your end, which you might not be aware of. With that, I'll say 7 threes, and maybe I'll see you next week. Bye for now. I'll say 7 threes, and
Yeah, okay, Michael. I had signed actually. Yeah, okay, Michael. Right. I'm watching my signal on the mini tuner, and I'm watching my signal on my ride receiver. And as soon as I came up on transmit, the ride receiver and the mini tuner produced a picture at the same time. So I'm going to check the chat now. Hang on. Right, I'm looking at the chat now, Michael. Are you receiving? Still not receiving. Well, I've no idea why. Yeah, okay, Tom, thank you. Yeah, Michael, well, of course, he can't hear me, can he? I've no idea. I've no idea. I'm 3/4 FEC, and Michael is 3/4 as well. Let me just stop transmitting, and I'll go to 2/3. Hold on. Right. Right, have I got audio? Yes. Right. I've gone to 2/3 FEC, Michael. My mini tuner on my ride are both displaying video and audio. So let me go to the chat. Michael, are you receiving my signal? Yeah, okay, Tom, thank you. So it's obviously not lack of signal. Let me just check my level. So I'm 0.6 dB down on the beacon. So that should be enough. 2/3 FEC. So I've no idea, Michael. Frequency-wise, what the wideband chat says I'm on? Well, it says I'm on 499.250. The mini tuner is saying 499.305. So I'm a little bit off frequency, but I can't imagine that would be a problem on 333. So anyway, Michael is not copying, so I'll cut carrier. Maybe Michael wants to come up, or maybe if Nigel's still there. I don't know who's going to take it. But anyway, I will continue watching 73s, but I am watching.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Make sure I've got audio. Yeah. Just transition back over with my mouse. I cut straight. Yeah, Nick, no problem, mate. All good here. I say the only one I got issue with earlier on was Benno, I think his name is. Yeah, but all good, all good. Yeah, so only thing I forgot to ask is my lip sync improved than what it was. I've got after talking to a couple of people, I put it on 400 now, plus 400 on the easy tuner, and nothing on the OBS. But I mean, I don't know. It should be. I think it's better, but I'm not sure if it's correct. But it's good enough anyway. And yeah, and I see Martin. Is it Martin? I know. Matt, sorry. M0DQDB. I don't know, you popped on the chat. Matt, I don't know if you want to take it after me for a quick over. So yeah, it's just, I think you've answered my question over, or sent me one of your YouTube channels about the split. I will have a look after the net. If it was you, Martin. Matt, thank you. Anyway, that's enough for me. Great net, as always. I enjoy it 100%. Look forward to seeing you next Sunday. And yes, like everybody knows in the UK, it is a bank holiday tomorrow. And who said I got to go to a bank? Someone said I got to go to the bank in the UK. Oh, Mike. Wait, aren't the banks closed on a bank holiday, or is it just you go into an automatic banking anyway? You didn't say you're going to either take something or get some out. But yeah, banks should be shut tomorrow, mate. Anyway, that's enough for me. I'll drop carrier shortly and keep it open for general use, but Matt might come on. But I'm going to cut carrier stuff for me waffling and catch you all next week. Good luck, God bless, and catch you all later. Now go back to carrier because there's nobody else on. Matt might come on. Catch you all next week. 230 EHH now clean frequency for general use. Goodbye, God bless.
Yes, we have a so-called bank holiday tomorrow. What's happened now? Let's just check. Yeah, we have a bank holiday tomorrow. There's nothing to put in the bank anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Okay, all the very best. Interesting on the audio levels. Yeah, what Leon was referring to, Michael, is if you've got a lot of movement, that can cause momentarily the digital signal to freeze, the video signal. So when the guys go clapping, there's a lot of movement, and if they're near the edge, in other words, too few null packets, it can freeze. And I think that's what you've been experiencing. But yeah, all signals good. No freezing this end from nobody. So I don't know what's going on, Michael. But anyway, I'm sure you'll sort it out in due course. But Nick was perfect on both symbol rates. So not symbol rates, FEC rates. No problem at all. Right, with that, we wish everybody on frequency a very good evening. Cheers to all. Been lovely having the net again today. And we look forward to next week. Maybe there's going to be something interesting yet again. This is ZS6YI, second time closing the DATV net, opening the frequency for general use. 7-3 all.